If your work keeps expanding but you don't, something's wrong, and deep down, you know it. Most people work harder at their jobs than they ever work on themselves. They pour time, focus, and effort into deadlines, yet end every day feeling drained. Not because they didn't perform, but because they didn't grow. This isn't about quitting your job. It's about not quitting yourself. You deserve progress that pays you in confidence, peace, and power, not just in money. Here's the truth. Your brain is plastic. It adapts to whatever you repeat. When your days loop without learning, your nervous system memorizes stagnation. The mind dulls, the attention fractures, the energy leaks. It isn't failure, it's physics. Energy follows pattern. If your internal pattern is repetition without renewal, your life will always feel smaller than your effort. But growth can be trained. Progress is not luck. It's a mechanism. The same system that adapts to pressure can adapt to purpose. When your thinking sharpens, emotions align. When emotions align, actions gain force. And when your actions carry clean energy, results multiply. Fear will appear. It always does before expansion. It's not a wall. It's a threshold. Growth happens when you move while afraid, when you speak while uncertain, when you act before you feel ready. Your job may give you a salary, but your growth gives you a life. This is your wake-up call to evolve daily. Because the only real security is becoming someone who can rebuild, refocus, and rise in any environment.
If you're ready to rise above the noise, like the video. It tells YouTube you're choosing awareness over autopilot. Subscribe now, and don't miss the next chapter in your evolution. And remember, the deepest transformation belongs to those who stay until the very end.
Chapter 1. Choose growth over fear. When fear tells you to stop, that is the exact moment life is testing your capacity to expand. Fear has a way of making good people hesitate. It convinces dreamers that their vision is too far away, persuades the capable that they are not yet ready, and whispers to every soul that risk equals danger. But fear is not a stop sign. It is a signal. It's the flicker of your nervous system alerting you that you've reached the border between what is known and what is possible, and that border is sacred. Every time you obey fear, you trade your potential for comfort. You shrink your timeline to fit your current understanding. Yet nothing about human biology or cosmic law supports stagnation. Your body regenerates cells every day. Your brain rewires through every new experience. Even the universe itself is expanding outward at the speed of light. Growth is nature's default state. Only the mind insists on safety as progress dies in its hands. Fear isn't evil, it's ancient. It evolved to keep you alive, not fulfilled. The amygdala still fires at modern challenges as if they were predators. It cannot tell the difference between public speaking and mortal threat. That's why courage is not the absence of fear, but the intelligent use of it. Courage means moving through the biochemical storm, letting adrenaline sharpen you rather than paralyze you. Spiritually, fear is a gatekeeper. Every new frequency of awareness demands a higher vibration of trust. The resistance you feel before action is the friction between your current self and your next self. That friction is energy being born. When you move despite it, you convert resistance into power. The moment you say, "I'll do it anyway," your internal frequency rises and the external world rearranges to meet it. This is not poetry. It's resonance. Growth always asks for discomfort first. It will pull you out of the familiar rhythm where you can predict outcomes and place you in a landscape where clarity comes only after motion. You don't learn strength by staying still. You learn it by walking through uncertainty until the ground beneath you becomes steady again. The universe doesn't reward hesitation. It expands in response to bold participation. Most people misunderstand fear because they view it through the lens of avoidance. They think, when I stop feeling afraid, then I'll act. But in truth, fear fades only after action. The mind calms when the body moves. That first small step, sending the email, speaking the truth, taking the risk, signals your system that the threat is survivable. The energy that once paralyzed you now transforms into focus. Think about it. The first time you try anything new, your heart races. The second time, it steadies. By the 10th time, it feels natural. That's neuroplasticity, the brain updating its model of what is safe. Growth, then, is not magic. It's training. Every act of courage rewrites the circuitry of fear. Each repetition teaches your nervous system that uncertainty does not equal danger. Over time, fear becomes information, not inhibition. But this transformation requires awareness. When fear whispers, "What if you fail?" Hear the deeper question underneath. What if you succeed and must live as someone greater? Because that is what most people actually fear. Not failure, but expansion. The unknown self is intimidating. It asks for responsibility, consistency, truth. It demands that you stop playing small. Yet this is the only path to real fulfillment. Fear will try to anchor you in the same job, the same habits, the same story. It will say, "At least here, you won't get hurt." But safety without growth is the slowest form of pain. Existing without evolving is spiritual suffocation. Real living begins the second you decide that your future matters more than your fears. Regret is heavier than risk. You can recover from failure. You cannot recover from the years spent wondering what could have been. Every person who built something meaningful, every artist, leader, or innovator walked through fear. They did not feel brave every moment. They simply refused to let fear be the one making decisions. Courage doesn't mean you don't shake. It means you walk forward while shaking. It means you speak when your voice trembles, act when your legs resist, and trust that motion itself will summon strength. That is how growth begins. Not with certainty, but with honesty. I'm scared, and I'm going anyway. From a scientific view, every time you act despite fear, you strengthen the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that governs reasoning and long-term vision, over the amygdala that governs panic. Spiritually, you align your vibration with expansion rather than contraction. Each decision becomes a declaration to life. I am ready for more. And life, responding to the frequency of readiness, delivers more. Growth does not require giant leaps. It requires truthful steps, small, deliberate movements toward the person you were designed to become. Read something that stretches your mind. Speak to someone who challenges your comfort. Attempt a skill that humbles you. The size of the act doesn't matter. Its direction does. The paradox is this: fear will always exist, but its power depends entirely on whether you pause or proceed. The longer you wait, the louder it grows. But once you step, its voice weakens. Fear loses volume in motion. It dissolves in momentum. So when that familiar hesitation returns, when your mind warns, "Don't go further," remember, the edge you fear is the doorway you need. Step through it. Because one step through fear expands every boundary you've ever known. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to choose growth one more time today, and then again tomorrow. That's how fear transforms from your jailer into your guide. Chapter 2. Train your mind to crave daily progress. Most people wait for motivation before they move. They sit still, hoping that inspiration will ignite them into action. But motivation is weather. It changes by the hour. Progress is a discipline. It changes who you are. If you train your mind to crave progress, you'll never need to wait for motivation again. You'll have built an inner system that drives itself. Every morning you wake up, two voices rise inside you. One says, "Stay comfortable." The other whispers, "Do something that matters." The one you feed becomes your identity. Most feed comfort because it feels safe. But those who feed progress create momentum, and momentum feeds everything else. Confidence, energy, clarity, self-respect. Progress is not measured in dramatic leaps. It's measured in direction. The smallest, consistent forward movement rewires the mind to expect growth instead of stagnation. That's how habits form. Through repetition, not inspiration. Neuroscience calls this long-term potentiation, the strengthening of neural pathways that fire together. When you act toward growth daily, even in small doses, your brain learns to associate action with satisfaction. Eventually, your chemistry shifts. Dopamine, serotonin, and focus hormones release when you move, not when you wait. That's how you build a mind that craves improvement instead of ease. At first, your system will resist. It's used to comfort. It's addicted to the false safety of delay. But when you act consistently, you begin to form new grooves in your consciousness. The first few days, discipline feels like friction. After a few weeks, it feels like order. After a few months, it feels like peace. Because progress isn't pressure, it's harmony. The mind is happiest when it's expanding. From a spiritual lens, daily progress is the soul's metabolism. Just as your body needs movement to stay alive, your consciousness needs creation. When you learn, practice, and refine, you emit a stronger energetic signature, one that tells the universe, "I am alive and evolving." Energy responds to that frequency. You begin to attract experiences that match your effort. People call it synchronicity. It's simply coherence. The trick is to lower the threshold for progress. Most people wait for perfect conditions to start. A long, free day, ideal inspiration, a burst of clarity. But the mind learns best through friction, not fantasy. Start small. Read 2 pages. Write 1 paragraph. Meditate for 5 minutes. The point isn't scale, it's consistency. Because consistency compounds. One small act of progress per day for a year creates an entirely new architecture of thought. The key to maintaining this is reflection. The brain needs proof that it's growing. Write down your small wins. Review what you learned. Celebrate the tiny completions that no one else notices. This gives your subconscious evidence that effort leads to reward. Over time, it builds an emotional addiction to advancement. You'll start to feel uneasy when you waste time, not because of guilt, but because you've trained your energy to crave growth. Every act of discipline builds a loop between intention and action, a neural circuit of trust. When you decide and follow through, your mind learns. My word matters. When you delay or break promises, it learns the opposite. That's why progress and self-respect are inseparable. A mind that progresses daily becomes a mind that believes in itself. Progress also purifies emotion. When you act, you release stagnant energy. Movement clears the mind faster than analysis ever will. Anxiety, doubt, and confusion often dissolve not through thought, but through motion. You'll notice that on the days you take even small steps forward, your inner voice quiets. That is your nervous system finding coherence. The more you act, the calmer you become. Spiritually, progress turns you into a transmitter of energy rather than a consumer of it. Instead of absorbing noise, you create signal. Instead of waiting for external validation, you generate internal proof. You stop being reactive to circumstances and start becoming generative, someone whose presence produces clarity wherever they go. To train your mind, design your environment to reward progress. Keep reminders of movement visible, a journal on your desk, a list of micro goals, an affirmation that reads, "1 inch forward is still forward." Surround yourself with people who measure life by learning, not by comfort. Energy is contagious. When you share space with those who stretch, your mind mirrors their momentum. Don't confuse rest with stagnation. Rest is a part of progress. It's integration time, when your system processes lessons and stores energy for the next step. Progress is not a constant sprint. It's rhythmic. Act, rest, integrate, repeat. The universe itself expands and contracts in waves. So should your effort. You will have days when your mind resists, when energy feels flat. Those are the most important days to train. Anyone can act when inspired. Mastery begins when you act uninspired. That's when your system learns that intention outruns emotion. And every time you override inertia, you expand your identity. Remember this: the human mind is programmable. You are its programmer. If you feed it distraction, it will crave ease. If you feed it growth, it will crave progress. Whatever you repeat becomes desire. So repeat expansion. Repeat effort. Repeat evolution. Over time, you'll notice a quiet transformation. You'll no longer chase motivation. It will chase you. Your brain will start searching for opportunities to grow. You'll feel uncomfortable when you stagnate, energized when you improve, peaceful when you act. That's the natural state of a trained mind. Progress becomes your meditation. Discipline becomes your liberation. And the steady hum of daily growth replaces the chaos of waiting for inspiration. Because in the end, you were never meant to chase motivation. You were meant to become momentum. Chapter 3. Break patterns that keep you stuck. Feeling stuck isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like routine. You wake up, work, scroll, rest, repeat. And though nothing is visibly wrong, something deep in you whispers that you're standing still. That whisper is truth. It's the signal that your inner operating system has stopped updating. You're running old code. The same thoughts, the same reactions, the same emotional loops, and wondering why new results never come. Being stuck isn't about circumstances. It's about patterns. Every day, you repeat thousands of micro behaviors. How you think when you wake. How you speak to yourself after mistakes. How you respond to challenge. How you soothe boredom. Each one becomes a neural pathway, a road your mind travels without question. Over time, these roads become walls. They keep you circling the same terrain while believing you're free. Awareness is the first demolition tool. You can't break a pattern you don't see. Stop and observe your day as if you were watching someone else live it. Where do you repeat frustration? Where do you hide behind distraction? Where do you postpone the moment that could change everything? The instant you see the loop, you're no longer fully trapped in it. Because consciousness, by its nature, disrupts automation. Neuroscience calls this meta-awareness. When the observer within you activates the prefrontal cortex, interrupting the autopilot of the limbic system. Spiritually, this is awakening. The watcher in you is the part that transcends habit. the fragment of pure awareness untouched by conditioning. Every time you choose to notice rather than react, you strengthen that witness, and that witness is freedom. Breaking a pattern doesn't mean erasing it overnight. The brain loves familiarity because it equals safety. It resists change even when the old way hurts. That resistance is biological, but it's also energetic. You've invested emotional charge into these habits, and energy clings to what it recognizes. When you start to shift, the system panics. It feels like friction, confusion, fatigue. But this discomfort isn't punishment. It's purification. It's the energy of an old identity dissolving. Each time you act differently, even slightly, you create a crack in the loop. Say something honest instead of polite. Speak up when you'd normally stay quiet. Choose movement when you'd normally overthink. Every crack lets light in, and that light becomes new circuitry. Neurons that fire together wire together. That's Hebbian learning, the foundation of neuroplasticity. Spiritually, the same rule applies to vibration. Frequencies that align amplify each other. The moment you sustain new thought and action together, you forge a new energetic signature. You can't just stop an old habit. You must replace it. The mind abhors emptiness. If you quit a pattern of self-criticism, fill that space with self-instruction. If you stop procrastinating, fill the gap with micro-progress. Otherwise, the vacuum pulls the old behavior back. So design your replacement consciously. You're not fighting the past. You're building a new default. Some patterns hide beneath language. Listen to the sentences you repeat. That's just how I am. I'll start when things calm down. I don't have time. Each one is a spell, spoken often enough that reality obeys it. Break the verbal spell first. Replace I can't with I'm learning. Replace someday with today. Every new phrase rewrites not just your belief, but the frequency you broadcast into the field. The environment you live in either reinforces or rewires patterns. Your brain mirrors the behavior it witnesses most. Surround yourself with people who practice presence, ambition, and accountability. Energy entrains to energy. This is as true scientifically, mirror neurons, social conditioning, as it is spiritually, vibrational resonance. If you stay among the stagnant, you will internalize stillness as safety. If you spend time among the growing, you will normalize expansion. The moment you start changing, your world may resist. People who benefit from your old patterns will call the new you difficult, detached, or distant. Let them. Growth often feels like betrayal to those still attached to your past. But it isn't betrayal, it's evolution. You owe no one the version of you that kept you small. Breaking patterns also requires patience. Your nervous system needs repetition to believe the new way is safe. Every day you choose differently, you're re-educating your biology. Don't expect the absence of resistance. Expect progress within resistance. That's how transformation integrates. And sometimes, the deepest stuck pattern isn't action, but inaction. The endless waiting for clarity, permission, or the perfect moment. The truth is, action creates clarity, not the other way around. You discover your path by walking it. Every step reveals the next. So when life feels repetitive, remember, repetition without awareness is a loop. Repetition with awareness is training. The same energy that once trapped you can be harnessed to free you. Use your habits as handles to lift yourself higher. Today, catch one pattern in motion. Interrupt it with consciousness. Replace it with something aligned. It can be small, a new thought, a new word, a single different choice. Do that often enough, and your entire reality begins to tilt toward evolution. You are not stuck. You're simply running yesterday's code. Update it. Chapter 4. Build self-respect through small daily wins. Real confidence isn't built in a single grand victory. It grows quietly, brick by brick, through the small promises you keep to yourself when no one is watching. Self-respect is the architecture of your inner world, and the material is follow-through. Every time you do what you said you would do, even in the smallest task, you're sending a message to your mind. I can trust me. The world often celebrates public milestones, promotions, awards, applause, but the foundation of strength is formed in private repetition. The early workout, the finished reading, the cleaned space, the extra 10 minutes of learning when no one would notice if you quit. Those moments are invisible to others, yet they rewire the deepest parts of your self-image. The brain records proof of consistency, and your nervous system begins to relax around your own word. That calm is power. Every small act of discipline releases reward chemicals, dopamine, serotonin, teaching your body that effort equals satisfaction. That's neurochemistry catching up with integrity. You stop needing external praise because your own biology starts applauding you. Over time, effort becomes pleasure, consistency becomes identity, and you begin to move with quiet assurance. Spiritually, these micro-victories realign your personal vibration. When action matches intention, your energy field becomes coherent. You stop leaking power through contradiction, saying one thing, doing another. Integrity is energetic symmetry. Thought, word, and deed in one straight line. That alignment radiates peace. Others can feel it before you speak. Many lose self-respect because they confuse motivation with commitment. They act only when inspired, then label themselves inconsistent when emotion fades. But consistency is not emotional. It's mechanical. It's the decision to move even when the heart resists. Think of it as gravity for progress. When you establish routines that honor your values, they pull you forward automatically. Start where you are. Choose one small habit that reflects who you want to become. Something so simple that failure is impossible. 5 minutes of journaling, a glass of water before coffee, reading a page before sleep. Keep it for a week. Then 2. Each repetition is a vote for the future self you're constructing. Soon, you'll feel a subtle shift. The dialogue in your head changes from "I hope I can" to "I always do." That's the voice of self-trust returning. From a cosmic lens, the universe mirrors precision. When you follow through with your own word, the field around you follows through in response. Opportunities align more smoothly because your frequency is reliable. Chaos often enters life not because the world is unstable, but because you are inconsistent with your signal. The more dependable your vibration, the more predictable your outcomes. Do not underestimate small wins. They compound. The way compound interest multiplies wealth, repeated integrity multiplies power. One honest act per day becomes 30 per month, 300 per year, and each one strengthens the neural and energetic framework that defines how you meet the world. It's not the magnitude of effort that transforms you, it's the rhythm. Even brushing your teeth every night builds an identity of completion. The brain loves closure. Every finished action, no matter how trivial, teaches it that you finish what you start, and that belief transfers everywhere. Suddenly, projects you once avoided become approachable because your subconscious knows, we complete things here. When you break promises to yourself, the opposite happens. The mind records a deficit of trust. You begin to doubt your capacity long before reality tests it. To rebuild, forgive the inconsistency but end the pattern. Don't declare massive goals. Declare small certainties. Today, I'll keep one promise. Keep it. That's how confidence restarts. Not through emotion, but through evidence. Remember, discipline is not punishment. It's self-respect in motion. Each time you push past laziness, you remind your system that your potential commands your comfort, not the other way around. You start walking taller because you no longer owe yourself explanations. You're living proof. There's a spiritual serenity that comes when your private actions require no defense. You no longer need to convince anyone of your worth. It's visible in your posture, your tone, your calm. You become a person whose energy says, "I keep my word." That vibration draws trust from others naturally. Respect multiplies outward from inner integrity. Some days you will slip. Everyone does. The key is not perfection, but recovery. Miss a day and begin again without drama. Shame anchors you in the past. Recommitment moves you toward the future. The very act of restarting is a win. Proof that you choose responsibility over excuse. Over time, this steady chain of small wins builds something unshakable. You stop needing validation because self-respect becomes your atmosphere. Challenges arrive, but they don't rattle you. They reveal you. Because a person who can rely on their own discipline never feels powerless. Self-respect isn't loud. It doesn't shout or demand. It walks quietly, certain, and untouchable, and it's earned, one completed promise at a time. Chapter 5. Outgrow environments that limit you. There will come a time when the space you once fit perfectly begins to feel too small. The conversations that once excited you now drain you. The routines that once gave you security now feel like walls. That is not failure. That is growth calling. Expansion always makes comfort feel tight. The more aware you become, the more you sense when an environment is no longer matching your frequency. Growth changes your internal rhythm. If your surroundings don't evolve with you, friction begins. You'll feel it as quiet tension, fatigue, or boredom. You'll find yourself pretending to care about things you've outgrown. Most people misread this signal and blame themselves. Why can't I stay motivated? Why am I restless? But restlessness is revelation. It's life telling you, you're ready for more, but your environment is teaching you to stay the same. Every environment is a feedback loop. It reflects your standards, your energy, your expectations. The people you talk to most, the spaces you inhabit, the information you consume, they form the ecosystem that shapes your future. If your ecosystem rewards comfort, you will stay small. If it rewards curiosity and courage, you will expand. From a biological standpoint, your nervous system adapts to the dominant signals around it. Mirror neurons make you absorb the habits, tone, and pace of your environment. That's why we unconsciously copy the energy of the rooms we enter. Spiritually, this is called entrainment. Frequencies synchronize. When you live surrounded by complacency, you start vibrating at mediocrity. When you place yourself among builders, thinkers, creators, your vibration begins to accelerate. Outgrowing an environment doesn't always mean burning bridges or walking away dramatically. Sometimes it's quiet. It's less time in gossip and more time in growth. It's less seeking validation and more seeking vision. It's the gradual realization that peace is worth more than approval. Yet this evolution will test you emotionally. Leaving the familiar always triggers fear. The fear of being alone, misunderstood, or judged. But staying small to keep others comfortable is not loyalty. It's self-abandonment. You owe your past gratitude, not residence. Every environment serves a season. When the lesson is complete, staying becomes resistance. Ask yourself often, does where I am reflect who I'm becoming? If the answer is no, change your direction, not your identity. Because when your inner world grows, outer alignment must follow. The space that nurtured you at one level will suffocate you at the next. That's how nature works. The shell must crack for the creature to evolve. The truth is, the people who love you most might not understand your need to evolve. They'll remember your old patterns, not your new potential. Don't hold that against them. Everyone perceives through the lens of their own growth stage. Bless them, release the need to convince, and keep walking. The right people will recognize you at your next frequency. When you step away from limiting environments, you reclaim energy that was tied up in maintenance, maintaining appearances, small talk, the illusion of belonging. That liberated energy becomes creation fuel. Suddenly, ideas flow faster. Your mind quiets. Your body feels lighter. That's the sensation of returning to alignment. From a cosmic view, environments are mirrors of consciousness. When you elevate internally, life responds by reorganizing externally. Some doors will close naturally. Don't fight that collapse. It's architecture making room for expansion. As old frequencies dissolve, new coordinates appear. New people, new chances, new spaces that resonate with your current state. Practically, you can begin this process without uprooting your life overnight. Start by curating your inputs. Replace noise with nourishment. Choose books, conversations, and communities that stretch your thinking. Seek mentorship or dialogue with those ahead of you. The energy of aspiration is contagious. It awakens dormant parts of your mind. You'll know an environment is right when it challenges you but doesn't drain you, when the air feels charged with possibility, not pressure. In such spaces, your nervous system relaxes even as your standards rise. That balance, safety, and stretch is the perfect ecosystem for evolution. Remember, you are not betraying your past by leaving it behind. You are honoring it by fulfilling its purpose. It was the soil that grew you to this stage. Now you must plant yourself where your next growth can happen. Staying too long in a small space eventually shrinks your thinking, your creativity, your courage. Moving forward may be lonely at first, but loneliness is the space where your true signal gets strong. Isolation becomes integration. When you finally meet the next version of yourself, you'll understand why the old world had to fade. Outgrowing environments isn't rebellion, it's renewal. Every time you choose a space that matches your evolution, you are telling life, I am ready for higher instruction. And life, true to its pattern, will respond with opportunity equal to your courage. So when comfort starts to feel heavy, don't wait for permission. Step out, even if your voice shakes. You're not leaving people behind. You're leaving patterns behind. And the moment you walk forward, watch how the air changes. You'll feel it. That weight lifting, that new clarity. It's not magic. It's alignment. Chapter 6. Put peace before pressure. There is a kind of exhaustion that no amount of sleep can fix. The fatigue that comes from living in constant reaction. Deadlines, messages, meetings, notifications. 1,000 small demands pulling you out of yourself until you forget what silence feels like. You tell yourself you're just being productive, but deep down you know it's not productivity, it's pressure. And pressure without peace eventually becomes poison. Peace is not weakness. It is strength without panic. It is power that moves without noise. When you learn to place peace before pressure, your decisions sharpen. You stop performing for approval and start working from clarity. A calm mind sees patterns that a frantic one misses. Most people confuse busyness with importance. They believe motion equals meaning. But busyness is not progress. It's just well-disguised fear. Fear of slowing down. Fear of being forgotten. Fear of what might surface if everything went quiet. But silence doesn't expose your weakness. It reveals your wisdom. It's the space where creativity, intuition, and real perspective are born. From a physiological view, pressure floods your system with cortisol, adrenaline, and shallow breath, the chemistry of survival. But you can't build anything meaningful from survival mode. The nervous system only learns in safety. When you live in constant stress, your higher brain shuts down and your reactive brain takes over. That's why peace isn't optional. It's strategic. A calm nervous system is the foundation of intelligence. Spiritually, peace is coherence, the alignment of mind, body, and energy. When you act from peace, your vibration is stable. You become a transmitter of order in a chaotic world. Others feel it instantly. Your words land deeper. Your presence steadies the room. You no longer absorb other people's urgency. You influence it. The first step toward peace is boundaries. Without them, everything becomes urgent. The world will always want more of your time than you can give. You must teach it where to stop. Don't answer every message immediately. Don't say yes out of guilt. Don't let work invade your sacred hours. Boundaries are not walls. They are filters. They let the essential in and keep the noise out. You may fear that slowing down means falling behind, but rushing guarantees collapse. A rested mind creates faster than a frantic one. Slowing down doesn't mean quitting. It means recalibrating so your energy and intention move in the same direction. Speed without alignment leads to burnout. Steady motion with awareness leads to mastery. Peace requires presence. You cannot be at peace in the past or the future, only here. Begin small. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. When you work, just work. Train your attention to stay where your body is. This unity between awareness and action generates what neuroscience calls flow state. Complete absorption without resistance. It's not just productivity, it's spiritual practice in motion. You'll notice something miraculous when you start prioritizing peace. You make fewer mistakes. You sense timing better. You communicate with more grace. It's as if the world slows down to match your internal rhythm. This is the physics of coherence. When your internal energy stabilizes, external conditions align with it. But peace must be protected. It will not survive in an environment of constant comparison. Social pressure is one of the most efficient thieves of inner calm. Every time you measure your pace against another's, you re-enter anxiety's domain. Peace is not passive, it's selective. It chooses what deserves its attention. Begin and end your days with moments of stillness. 5 deep breaths before you touch your phone. 10 silent minutes before bed to release the noise of the day. Think of these moments as energetic hygiene, the way you clear your frequency before entering or leaving the world. If you lead others, understand this. Your peace is their permission. When a leader is frantic, the team fragments. When a leader is calm, the group synchronizes. Calm is contagious. It sets the emotional temperature of every environment it enters. To put peace before pressure also means redefining success. Real success is not how much you do, it's how peacefully you can do it. It's not about adding more tasks. It's about doing fewer things with more presence. It's measured not by applause, but by the state of your nervous system when the day ends. You can always tell when a person has chosen peace. They move slower, but they achieve more. Their focus is surgical. Their energy is clean. They don't rush, but somehow they're never late. Because when you're aligned, life meets you halfway. If you've forgotten what peace feels like, start with your breath. Long, deep inhales tell the body, we are safe. The moment safety returns, clarity follows. You begin to think from expansion rather than survival. Remember, you cannot give the world your best if you are running on your last. Peace is the battery that powers everything else. Without it, talent burns out, purpose distorts, and joy vanishes. There is a power in calm that the noisy never know. It's the strength of someone who can move mountains without shouting, build empires without hurry, and lead without losing themselves. So today, pause. Breathe. Protect your stillness like you protect your dreams. Because peace isn't what you find at the end of success. It's what makes success sustainable. Chapter 7. Strength and Discipline. There will always be a gap between who you are and who you could become. Discipline is the bridge across it. Strength is what carries you through. The world glorifies inspiration, but it is discipline that builds empires. It is not the loud moment of motivation that shapes your destiny. It's the quiet repetition of right choices when no one is watching. Strength is not about force. It's about endurance. Anyone can push hard once. True power is doing what must be done again, especially when the novelty fades, when progress slows, when no applause arrives. That's where discipline lives, in the space between intention and execution. Discipline begins as restriction but ends as freedom. Most people never stay long enough to discover that. They feel the discomfort of routine and call it limitation. But the paradox is simple. The more structure you create, the more energy you free. When you no longer waste time deciding whether to act, your focus sharpens. That's not confinement. That's clarity. Scientifically, discipline strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that manages decision-making, attention, and long-term goals. Each time you follow through despite emotion, you rewire your neural hierarchy. Logic leads, impulse follows. Spiritually, this same process refines your energetic field. It takes scattered intention and condenses it into coherent will. That coherence, thought, emotion, and action aligned, is what ancient traditions called power. But discipline without purpose becomes punishment. You must connect your effort to meaning. Ask yourself, what kind of person am I proving myself to be through this act? Every repetition is a declaration. Each early morning, each task completed with care, each no to distraction. They are all votes for the future self you're building. Most people wait to feel ready before they act. But readiness is born from repetition, not reflection. The more you act, the more competent you become. The more competent you become, the more confident you feel. Emotion follows motion. You cannot think your way into discipline, you train it into existence. There will be days when the voice of comfort grows seductive. It will whisper that one skipped day doesn't matter, that you've earned a break, that it's too late to change anyway. That voice is your past, negotiating with your potential. Don't debate it. Outwork it. Silence it through action. Discipline speaks in results. Strength doesn't shout. It's the quiet steadiness of someone who keeps moving when everything around them slows. It's the stillness of a mind that can endure chaos without absorbing it. You develop that strength the same way you build muscle, through resistance. Every challenge that tests you is a weight for the soul. Lift it. From a spiritual lens, discipline is devotion, not to external rules, but to the highest version of yourself. It's saying, I respect my potential too much to betray it for temporary ease. Each time you choose effort over excuse, your vibration rises. You radiate reliability. The universe entrains to that signal, sending more opportunities that match your commitment. Discipline is also rhythm. You cannot sprint forever. Build rituals that are sustainable, not heroic. It's better to practice consistently at 80% than occasionally at 120%. The body and mind crave cadence. Find yours, protect it. Do not confuse discipline with rigidity. Discipline is structure with awareness. Rigidity is fear disguised as order. Discipline can bend without breaking. It adapts when life shifts but never forgets its direction. That flexibility is true strength. When failure comes, and it will, don't see it as proof that discipline didn't work. It's data. It's your training feedback. Adjust the system, not your worth. Strength grows through recalibration. Think of your life as a forge. Every repetition of discipline is heat-shaping metal. The hammer is discomfort. The outcome is integrity. Slowly, your will becomes unbreakable, not hard, but tempered, strong enough to bend without shattering. Over time, discipline evolves from an effort into an identity. You no longer try to be consistent. You simply are. Your habits run silently in the background, freeing your mind for creation. This is the state athletes call flow, monks call equanimity, and scientists call cognitive efficiency. All names for the same thing. Power born from order. Strength and discipline are not destinations. They're companions. You don't find them once. You travel with them daily. Some days they walk beside you quietly. Other days they carry you when you forget why you began. But they never leave. When you build this relationship, you no longer chase motivation or beg for momentum. You become both. You are the system and the spark. And when pressure comes, you won't need to prepare. You'll simply respond, not from panic, but from pattern. Because discipline isn't something you do, it's something you've become. Chapter 8. Replace validation with self-belief. The greatest prison most people live in has no bars, only opinions. They trade their truth for approval, their individuality for applause, and their peace for the illusion of being accepted. But no amount of validation can stabilize a person who doubts themselves. Because external approval is a drug, short-lived, addictive, and dependent on others for supply. The deepest work you will ever do is learning to build belief from the inside out. When you stop chasing validation, you begin recovering authenticity, and authenticity is power. Every time you seek approval, you hand your emotional regulation to someone else. You let them decide when you're allowed to feel enough. But self-belief returns that authority home. It's the shift from who likes me to who am I becoming. That question alone changes your vibration. From a psychological view, the human brain evolved to crave belonging. Validation once ensured survival. If your tribe accepted you, you lived. But in the modern world, The same instinct enslaves you to social comparison. You scroll, you measure, you adjust yourself like a product. Yet the truth remains. You cannot be free and performative at the same time. Spiritually, seeking validation is an energetic leak. Each time you modify yourself for approval, your frequency fractures. Your energy splinters into fragments of what they want, instead of the wholeness of who you are. That's why people who depend on praise feel exhausted. They're constantly shape-shifting, broadcasting inconsistent signals to the world and receiving static in return. To rebuild self-belief, you must first detox from external metrics. The likes, the comments, the comparisons. They don't measure your worth. They measure attention. Attention is currency, not truth. If your value depends on visibility, you will always chase the next spotlight. Start instead with evidence. Self-belief isn't blind affirmation. It's built through proof. Keep promises to yourself. Do the work when no one is watching. Let your confidence grow from the weight of your own consistency. That's integrity. And integrity is the purest form of confidence. Every small completion whispers, "See? You can trust you." Over time, this whisper becomes a roar. When you have your own evidence, you no longer need everyone else's approval. You still appreciate recognition, but you're not dependent on it. Appreciation fuels you, validation controls you. There's a difference. Another step. Learn to be misunderstood without collapsing. The moment you step into authenticity, you will stop fitting the projections people built of you. Some will misread your quiet as arrogance, your focus as distance, your boundaries as rebellion. Let them. It's not your job to manage the stories in other people's heads. Your task is to stay coherent, to keep your inner and outer worlds aligned, regardless of misunderstanding. When your self-belief strengthens, your energy stabilizes. People can sense it. The calm of someone who doesn't need to prove, convince, or perform. This is energetic sovereignty. You become less reactive, more magnetic. The universe responds to coherence, not desperation. Scientifically, belief systems shape perception. The reticular activating system in your brain filters reality according to what you believe. If you believe you are small, you unconsciously ignore opportunities that contradict that belief. When you strengthen self-trust, you start noticing synchronicities that were invisible before. Life didn't suddenly change. Your lens did. Spiritually, the same principle applies. Your frequency determines your field. When you radiate conviction, reality mirrors it back. You attract circumstances that affirm your stability. This is not wishful thinking, it's energetic mathematics. Coherence draws coherence. But self-belief requires solitude. You cannot hear your own voice in a crowd of others. Spend time alone without the crutch of distraction. Silence is uncomfortable at first because it confronts you with your real thoughts. But stay. Beneath the noise, there's a signal, a voice that isn't trying to impress anyone. That's your essence. Listen to it until it becomes louder than every opinion. To replace validation with belief, practice internal approval rituals. Ask yourself each night, did I live aligned with my values today? Did I move one step closer to what matters to me? If the answer is yes, rest. That is success. When you anchor validation in integrity, you become unshakable. And remember, self-belief doesn't mean arrogance. It's not thinking you're better than others. It's knowing you don't need to compete to prove worth. It's humility with backbone, compassion with boundaries. It's the ability to walk into any room knowing you bring value simply by being there. Over time, this inner confidence transforms your outer results. You stop chasing opportunities. Opportunities start seeking you, not because you scream the loudest, but because your energy is clear, unwavering, grounded, whole. One day, someone will praise you and you'll smile, but you won't need it. Someone will criticize you and you'll stay centered, because their words can't reach the place inside you that already knows. That's freedom. Validation is noise. Belief is signal. Choose signal. Build it daily, and watch how peace replaces performance. Chapter 9. Create balance that protects your mental health. Balance isn't about doing less. It's about doing what matters with your full presence. Modern life confuses motion with meaning. You rush, achieve, scroll, reply, and somehow still feel behind. But burnout isn't caused by having too much to do. It's caused by doing too many things that pull you out of alignment. Mental health begins where self-awareness meets boundaries. You cannot heal in a life you refuse to slow down long enough to examine. True balance isn't external. It's internal regulation. It's the ability to stay centered no matter how loud the world becomes. Physiologically, your brain and body are designed to oscillate between activation and recovery, what science calls ultradian rhythms. Push too long without pause, and your system floods with cortisol. Creativity, focus, and empathy decline. This is not weakness, it's biology. The same way your muscles need rest to grow, your mind needs quiet to restore clarity. Spiritually, balance is harmony between masculine and feminine energies, doing and being, structure and flow, logic and intuition. When these polarities dance instead of compete, life regains rhythm. You stop fighting time and start moving with it. To protect mental health, first learn to recognize imbalance. It often hides as productivity. You tell yourself you're fine because you're still functioning. But functioning isn't thriving. Pay attention to the signs: chronic fatigue, irritability, numbness, the loss of joy in things you used to love. These are not random. They are the body's alarm signals saying, you've left the center. Begin by reclaiming stillness. Schedule it as deliberately as work. 10 minutes of conscious breathing can reset your nervous system faster than an hour of distraction. The breath is the most direct bridge between chaos and calm. Inhale order, exhale noise. Then audit your inputs. Mental clutter is the new pollution. Every piece of information you consume either nourishes or drains. Curate your digital diet. Replace comparison with curiosity. Stop doom scrolling and start deep reading. What you feed your mind becomes the texture of your inner world. Balance also means letting rest count as progress. You're not lazy for needing recovery. You're human. When you rest intentionally, you're not quitting, you're integrating. Your subconscious processes lessons, your body stores strength, your energy resets. Even nature rests. The soil lies fallow so it can bloom again. Establish boundaries that protect your peace as non-negotiables, not luxuries. No one else will create them for you. The world rewards exhaustion. You must reward restoration. Say no without guilt. Step away without apology. A clear boundary isn't selfish. It's a form of self-respect. Relationships play a central role in mental balance. Surround yourself with people who ground you, not drain you. Notice how you feel after each interaction. Expanded or contracted, lighter or heavier. That's energetic data. Protect yourself accordingly. Balance also means learning to hold dualities. You can be ambitious and gentle, strong and tired, grateful and still want more. Emotional maturity is the ability to contain opposites without breaking. You stop chasing a perfect mood and start cultivating emotional range. Scientifically, emotional regulation improves when you strengthen vagal tone, the connection between mind and body through the vagus nerve. Practices like deep breathing, cold water exposure, singing, or mindful movement activate this system, shifting you from fight or flight to calm engagement. Spiritually, this same shift feels like alignment, the nervous system harmonizing with consciousness. Don't wait for burnout to start balancing. Prevention is easier than repair. Build micro moments of pause into your day. A minute of gratitude before opening emails. A stretch between tasks. Sunlight before screens. These rituals train your body to reset instead of react. Balance doesn't mean your life will always look even. Some seasons demand more output, others more rest. The goal is not symmetry, but self-awareness, knowing when to push and when to pause. The deeper you know your rhythm, the easier it becomes to protect your mind from extremes. Ultimately, balance is a spiritual discipline. It's trusting that rest will not make the world collapse. It's believing that peace produces more than panic ever will. It's realizing that your value is not tied to your speed. When you live in balance, your energy becomes magnetic. You think clearer, create deeper, connect better. You stop reacting to life and start composing it. Balance doesn't mean you escape chaos. It means chaos no longer dictates your state. So when the noise rises, pause. Take one deep breath. Remember, the goal is not to do everything. It's to do the right things from the right state of mind. Protect that state like your life depends on it. Because it does. Chapter 10. Evolve daily until growth feels natural. Growth is not a race. It is a rhythm, a steady pulse that hums beneath your days, shaping you quietly while the world watches for grand transformations. Real evolution doesn't happen in explosions. It unfolds in increments. One honest decision, one mindful action, one uncomfortable truth faced and integrated. The greatest misconception about growth is that it must be visible to count. The truth is, the most profound changes are the ones that no one else sees. The rewiring of your thoughts, the expansion of your emotional capacity, the strengthening of your energy field. Every time you choose awareness over reaction, reflection over distraction, purpose over impulse, you evolve. To evolve daily means to live as both student and sculptor of your own consciousness. You don't wait for perfect conditions. You use the present moment as your teacher. Some days, evolution looks like progress. Other days, it looks like survival. Both count. Because consistency, not intensity, builds transformation. From a scientific perspective, every small improvement reinforces neural plasticity, the brain's ability to reconfigure itself based on repetition and attention. The circuits you strengthen through daily practice become the architecture of your new identity. Spiritually, this same process is alchemy, converting experience into wisdom, turning density into light. When you commit to evolving every day, growth stops feeling like a performance and starts feeling like your natural state. You no longer force discipline, it flows through you. You no longer chase peace, you embody it. This is what mastery feels like, not grand or loud, but quiet and constant. The secret is self-observation. Before every day ends, ask, what did today teach me? What energy did I bring? What will I carry forward? These micro-reflections become the compass that keeps you aligned. Without reflection, effort becomes noise. With reflection, effort becomes direction. And remember, evolution requires endings. You cannot step into your next level while clinging to what no longer fits. Some habits, relationships, and versions of yourself must dissolve. Don't mourn the loss. Honor the graduation. Shedding is sacred. It's how nature renews itself, and you are part of that same rhythm. Spiritually, every human life is an instrument tuning itself toward coherence. Growth is the sound of you becoming in harmony with what the universe has always known you could be. Each act of honesty, each moment of courage, each small step forward raises your energetic frequency, allowing new realities to enter your field. The ego resists this process because evolution demands humility. It asks you to trade certainty for curiosity, control for flow. But the higher self thrives there, in uncertainty, in learning, in expansion. When you surrender to that rhythm, fear dissolves. You stop fearing failure because you understand it's simply feedback, a teacher in disguise. The beauty of evolving daily is that progress compounds invisibly. One extra page read, one mindful breath, one uncomfortable conversation faced with awareness. These tiny moments of growth multiply quietly until one day you look back and realize you've become someone different. Clearer, calmer, stronger. Growth that is natural is growth without resistance. You no longer drag yourself toward the next goal. You're pulled by purpose. You start waking up with curiosity instead of anxiety. You begin to crave refinement the way others crave comfort. That is when you know evolution has become your default. Scientifically, this shift aligns with the principle of homeostatic expansion. Your body and mind adapt to new levels of awareness until what once felt difficult now feels normal. Spiritually, it's called embodiment. The lesson is no longer something you understand intellectually. It's something you live automatically. To reach this stage, treat growth like breathing, unconscious, continuous, essential. Let every experience become a mirror, every obstacle a sculptor, every success a reminder that progress is not an achievement, but a state of being. When you evolve daily, you stop asking, "When will I arrive?" and start realizing, "I already am the path." Your energy becomes the teacher. Your life becomes the evidence. And as the days compound, growth feels less like climbing and more like unfolding, a gentle expansion of who you truly are, returning to the center of your own potential. The process never ends because consciousness has no finish line. You don't outgrow evolution, you deepen into it. So keep moving, slowly, steadily, wisely. Let growth become your nature, not your goal. One day, you'll wake up and realize you no longer have to chase transformation. You are living it. Chapter 11. The Science of Stillness. How Silence Builds Power. You've been taught that power is loud, that influence means visibility, that success requires constant motion. But true power is often silent. It's not found in noise, but in the depth of your stillness. The space between thoughts where clarity gathers and direction becomes undeniable. The greatest minds in history, from scientists to sages, have all shared this one discipline: the capacity to be still. Einstein found his solutions not in equations, but in quiet reflection. Da Vinci said the greatest strength of the mind lies in knowing how to rest. The Buddha called it meditation. The Stoics called it composure. Modern neuroscience calls it alpha coherence, a measurable state where brain waves slow down, synchronizing hemispheres and allowing deeper insight to emerge. Stillness isn't absence, it's presence, amplified. When your energy stops scattering toward every external stimulus, notifications, expectations, comparisons, it condenses. That condensation of awareness becomes power. The mind stops leaking attention and begins generating focus. Spiritually, this is what ancient mystics meant when they spoke of gathering your light. When you are still, your energy field contracts inward, becoming luminous, unified, potent. Science now supports what spiritual traditions have always known. When the body enters states of stillness, the heart and brain synchronize, a process called heart coherence. In this state, stress hormones drop, intuition sharpens, and the nervous system recalibrates toward balance. You think more clearly, feel more deeply, and act more deliberately. Most people mistake busyness for progress because silence feels like emptiness. But silence isn't empty. It's full of information. The quieter you become, the more data you perceive. Your subconscious, constantly processing billions of inputs, finally has space to communicate. That quiet whisper, the gut feeling, the instinct, the sudden knowing, is your deeper intelligence surfacing. In stillness, you meet yourself without distortion. You stop performing. You stop reacting. You start witnessing. From that vantage point, every thought becomes visible, every emotion traceable. You begin to notice how often your mind replays the same stories. How much of your suffering comes not from what happens, but from how often you revisit it. Spiritually, stillness is a portal to the field of creation. When your vibration steadies, you align with universal intelligence, the energy that shapes galaxies and grows trees. You realize you are not separate from it. You are it, experiencing itself in human form. In stillness, you don't withdraw from life. You merge with the fabric of it. To practice stillness is to reclaim your sovereignty from the noise. You don't need hours of meditation or isolation to do this. Begin with 1 minute of deliberate silence between tasks. 1 conscious breath before you reply. 1 pause before you react. That microspace shifts your chemistry. It resets the circuit between awareness and action. Over time, stillness becomes your baseline. You enter rooms without being drained by their chaos. You listen without needing to interrupt. You work with precision instead of haste. People will sense something different about you, not in what you say, but in the grounded energy you carry. That's the authority of calm. The spiritually immature seek to be heard. The wise seek to understand. The powerful seek alignment. When you master stillness, you no longer chase influence. You embody it. Your words carry weight because they emerge from clarity, not compulsion. Your presence communicates more than your voice ever could. There's a physics to silence. When a system reaches equilibrium, it stops oscillating wildly and begins transmitting energy efficiently. The same happens within you. When the noise of your mind settles, your intentions broadcast more clearly into the quantum field. That's why inner calm precedes outer manifestation. The universe responds not to your effort, but to your energetic clarity. The greatest paradox of life is that the more you slow down inside, the faster your external world aligns. What used to take months unfolds in weeks. What once felt forced begins to flow. That's because you've removed interference, the static of anxiety, the clutter of thought, the tension of control. Stillness is not retreat. It's readiness. It's the moment before the arrow releases, the inhale before the impact, the clarity before the creation. In stillness, you remember that power is not in reaction, it's in restraint. Not in noise, but in nuance. The modern world rewards speed, but life itself rewards resonance. Don't measure your progress by how loud or busy you are. Measure it by how still your mind remains in the face of chaos, how quickly you can return to equilibrium when disrupted. Practice this daily. Before you speak, pause. Before you decide, breathe. Before you doubt, listen inward. The voice that speaks from that quiet is never wrong. In the end, stillness is not something you do, it's something you remember. Beneath every thought and identity, you are awareness itself, silent, luminous, eternal. Every moment of stillness is a homecoming to that truth. When you live from that center, your life no longer feels like something to manage. It becomes something that moves through you effortlessly. You act with precision, rest with purpose, and speak with weight. You stop chasing alignment because you are alignment. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people who have mastered their silence. Chapter 12, The Energy of Purpose. Aligning your life with why you exist. There is a point in every life where comfort begins to feel like decay. The routine that once felt safe begins to suffocate. The success that once impressed you starts to feel hollow. That moment is not failure. It's awakening. It's the universe whispering, "You are living beneath your frequency." Purpose is not a career, not a title, not a goal. It is energy, the vibration of alignment between who you are and what you do. It's when the actions of your day harmonize with the intention of your soul. Purpose is coherence made visible. The reason most people feel lost is not because they lack direction. It's because they're moving fast in the wrong vibration. They confuse momentum for meaning. But acceleration without alignment only amplifies emptiness. To find your purpose, stop chasing it as an object. Instead, raise your energy until purpose recognizes you. The more self-aware, disciplined, and balanced you become, the more your outer life reshapes itself to match that vibration. You don't find purpose, you remember it through resonance. From a scientific lens, purpose engages your brain's dopaminergic system. It fuels motivation not through reward, but through meaning. When your work aligns with intrinsic values, your body releases neurotransmitters that increase focus, longevity, and emotional stability. You literally become biochemically more alive. Spiritually, purpose is the current that connects the individual consciousness to the universal field. When you move with purpose, the universe moves with you. Synchronicities appear. The right people arrive. Timing feels effortless. That isn't magic. It's energetic alignment. You've tuned yourself to the frequency of flow, but alignment requires honesty. Ask yourself, what in my life feels heavy? What drains me, even when it looks impressive? The areas that exhaust you are signals of misalignment. They're feedback, not failure. When your life moves away from purpose, your energy dulls. When it returns, everything reignites. Purpose isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it looks like service. Sometimes it looks like solitude. Sometimes it's the quiet decision to keep showing up for something that calls you, even when no one claps. That's the spiritual law of mastery. You keep walking the path because the path itself shapes you into who you're meant to become. At the deepest level, purpose is not about what you get from the world. It's about what you give to it. Every soul incarnates with a specific energetic signature, a frequency of contribution. You are here to expand something: kindness, clarity, creativity, truth. When you live that signature fully, you restore equilibrium to the collective field. Science mirrors this. Quantum physics shows that every particle vibrates uniquely, yet contributes to the order of the whole. Purpose, then, is not dominance but participation, a role in the greater symphony of existence. When you play your note clearly, the entire system harmonizes. Finding that note requires silence and courage. Silence to hear what truly calls you beneath the noise of expectation. Courage to honor it even when it defies logic. Purpose rarely shouts. It whispers through curiosity, through fascination, through the activities that make time disappear. Those are breadcrumbs from your higher self. Follow them. But purpose also evolves. The version that ignites you at 20 will expand by 40, refine by 60. Your mission is not static. It grows as your consciousness grows. Don't cling to an old identity because it once felt meaningful. You are not betraying your purpose by changing direction. You are deepening it. The more aligned you become, the less effort you need. Flow replaces force. When your internal and external energies match, you enter what psychologists call autotelic state, where doing becomes reward in itself. Spiritually, this is dharma, action in harmony with truth. Purpose is not about being busy, it's about being precise. You learn to say no to what is good, so you can say yes to what is divine. The clearer your no, the cleaner your energy becomes. The cleaner your energy, the faster life organizes around your intention. When you live with purpose, you stop chasing motivation. You wake up with momentum. You stop needing permission. Your direction itself becomes prayer. And people feel it, not through what you say, but through the stability of your presence. Remember, purpose is never found in the future. It is revealed in the moment you give your full attention to the present. Purpose hides inside presence. You can measure alignment by how you feel when you finish your day. If your body is tired, but your spirit is peaceful, you are on path. If you feel restless even when you've achieved much, something is off frequency. Adjust, don't quit. The truth is, your purpose doesn't need to be big, it needs to be honest. The teacher, the artist, the parent, the healer, the builder, each radiates purpose when they act with consciousness. Every role can be sacred if done with awareness. As you evolve, your purpose refines from doing to being. It's no longer what you contribute, but who you become while contributing. When your vibration itself uplifts others, you've reached the highest form of purpose, embodied frequency. Purpose is energy, and energy never lies. When you live aligned, peace replaces anxiety, clarity replaces confusion, and flow replaces resistance. You no longer push life forward. Life pulls you. And one day, you'll look back and realize, every detour was direction. Every pause was preparation. Every struggle was shaping your frequency for this. The moment you became a clear channel for what you were always meant to transmit. Your purpose is not ahead of you. It's within you, waiting for permission to speak. Give it that permission. Not someday, but now. Chapter 13. Transcend limitation. The neuroscience of possibility. Every human being lives inside two worlds, one outer, one inner. The outer world is built of matter, laws, and circumstance. The inner world is built of perception, focus, and energy. Most people spend their lives rearranging the outer, hoping it will fix the inner. But those who master life understand the inverse. Reality expands only after consciousness does. Limitation begins as thought. Before it becomes a wall in your world, it exists as a pattern in your mind, a neural groove carved by repetition. Each time you say, "I can't," your brain wires a little tighter around that belief. Over years, those pathways become highways, and your identity drives them automatically. Science calls this neuroplasticity. the brain's ability to adapt and rewire based on experience. Spirituality calls it karma, the energetic echo of repeated choices. Both describe the same mechanism. Energy follows attention. Whatever you keep focusing on, you feed. Whatever you feed, you become. To transcend limitation, you must change the conversation inside your nervous system. You don't need to fight your old wiring. You need to teach it something new. Every time you choose possibility over fear, you lay new myelin, strengthening a new circuit of power. Every act of courage literally rewires your biology toward expansion. This isn't wishful thinking. Studies from cognitive neuroscience show that consistent visualization and conscious action activate the same neural regions as physical experience. The brain doesn't distinguish strongly between doing and deeply imagining. What you hold vividly in your mind becomes a rehearsal for reality. That is why belief isn't abstract. It's architecture. Spiritually, this process is what mystics mean by co-creation. The mind, the body, and the field interact like instruments in an orchestra. Your thoughts are frequency generators, your emotions are amplifiers, and your actions are conductors. When all three align, they produce resonance. That resonance pulls new outcomes into probability. You don't break limits by force. You dissolve them through coherence. Start by questioning every absolute you've accepted. I'm just not good with money. I always attract chaos. I can't focus. These aren't facts. They're hypnotic suggestions you've repeated long enough to mistake for truth. Every always and never is a cage disguised as certainty. Ask instead, what if I'm wrong about my limits? What if I've outgrown them and haven't realized it yet? The brain opens instantly when questioned with curiosity. Curiosity weakens the grip of fear. It turns walls into doors. From a cosmic view, limitation is illusion. You are a localized expression of an infinite field, a pattern of consciousness temporarily playing human form. The same intelligence that spins galaxies lives behind your eyes. When you meditate, visualize, or act with conviction, you're not sending requests to the universe. You're instructing your own field to reorganize. This is why energy practices, affirmations, and mindful discipline work when approached consciously. Not because words have magic power, but because belief organizes biology. Your inner chemistry aligns with your chosen signal, and your external world begins to follow suit. To transcend limitation, use 3 practices. Observation without judgment. The moment you witness a limiting thought instead of obeying it, you create space between the program and the presence. That space is freedom, repetition with emotion. Every new belief must be emotionally rehearsed. Feel the energy of possibility in your body, warmth, openness, gratitude, until it becomes familiar. Familiarity tells the brain, this is safe. Action with awareness. Small, deliberate actions anchor new identity faster than affirmations alone. Each time you act differently, your mind updates its model of who you are. Over time, your brain and your energy field synchronize around a higher blueprint. What once felt impossible starts feeling normal. You begin noticing opportunities that were always there but previously filtered out by doubt. Your world expands not because it changed, but because you did. Spiritual physics makes this clear. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. Every fear you face transmutes energy from contraction into expansion. That's why courage feels electric. It's the alchemy of stagnant potential turning kinetic. Eventually, you'll realize the boundaries you've been fighting were never external. They were thresholds of awareness. Once crossed, they vanish. From that state, limitation becomes feedback, not prison. Every challenge simply points toward the next layer of consciousness you're ready to embody. What used to trigger insecurity now signals growth. What once drained you now becomes fuel. To live without limitation is not to escape difficulty. It's to evolve faster than it can confine you. Your potential is not something you reach. It's something you remember. You are already wired for expansion. Every cell in your body is proof, constantly renewing, adapting, evolving. Life itself is your ally. So the next time you feel small, close your eyes and remind yourself, this feeling is not truth, it's data. You are not limited. You are learning. You are not behind. You are becoming. The infinite doesn't live somewhere above you. It breathes through you. And once you understand that, once you live as the awareness, not the limitation, you stop asking, can I? And start declaring, I am already becoming. That's when life opens like light through glass. Chapter 14. Master your frequency. How energy shapes reality. Everything in existence is energy, vibrating, communicating, resonating. The air, the light, your heartbeat, your thoughts. All are frequencies interacting in an infinite field of possibility. You are not simply a body moving through space. You are a frequency broadcasting your inner state into the quantum field. And the field responds, not to your words, but to your vibration. This is not metaphor. Quantum physics shows that observation influences outcome. The energy you carry, your emotion, your focus, your coherence, literally affects probability. It's the same principle behind why one person can walk into a room and elevate it, while another brings it down. Energy doesn't lie. It translates before language does. Your frequency is the sum of your thoughts, emotions, and intentions. When those are misaligned, your energy becomes fragmented, like a radio caught between stations, full of static. But when mind, emotion, and action align, your energy becomes coherent, focused, clear, magnetic. That's when reality begins to organize around you. Spiritually, this is the difference between manifesting and forcing. Forcing is trying to change form from fear. Manifesting is aligning energy with truth until form rearranges itself naturally. It's not about controlling the external world. It's about stabilizing your internal one. Science calls this entrainment. When two frequencies meet, the lower one always rises to match the higher. That's why calm people can quiet a room. That's why gratitude transforms mood faster than logic. Higher frequencies organize chaos. When you maintain coherence, life entrains to you. To master your frequency, you must first become aware of it. Notice how your energy feels when you enter different environments or conversations. Your body is a sensitive instrument. Tightness signals misalignment. Openness signals flow. Listen to it. Then, choose your signal deliberately. Each emotion emits a measurable vibration. Fear contracts, anger distorts, shame lowers. But love, gratitude, courage, and clarity expand. They don't just change how you feel, they change how matter behaves around you. HeartMath Institute research shows that when humans experience genuine gratitude, the electromagnetic field of the heart expands up to 3 meters beyond the body, synchronizing nearby energy fields. That's why peace is contagious. That's why presence heals. Every morning, calibrate your field. Before opening your phone, open your awareness. Ask, what signal am I sending into the field today? Choose consciously, not out of habit, but out of power. You don't wake up into a world. You wake the world up through your frequency. Spiritual masters across traditions have known this. Vibration precedes manifestation. When you raise your frequency, the old realities built on lower ones start to dissolve. People may drift away, jobs may end, circumstances may shift. Don't resist it. That's not loss. It's resonance sorting itself. Mastery means staying coherent through the transition. You no longer chase highs or fear lows. You become the steady tone beneath the noise, unwavering, luminous, precise. Frequency mastery also requires energy hygiene. Just as you clean your body, you must cleanse your field. Move, breathe, meditate, spend time in nature. Anything that clears stagnation. Energy must circulate to stay alive. Every thought you repeat, every word you speak, every emotion you nurture either raises or lowers your frequency. Be ruthless with what you allow to repeat. You can't think scarcity and emit abundance. You can't vibrate resentment and attract peace. The universe matches resonance, not rhetoric. The more coherent you become, the more your presence itself becomes influence. You'll notice that without speaking much, your energy changes rooms. Opportunities find you, people trust you, not because you convinced them, because your frequency communicated trust before words did. From a scientific perspective, this coherence is measurable. EEG and HRV scans show that individuals in heart-brain synchronization produce more stable electromagnetic patterns. From a spiritual lens, it's enlightenment in motion. Your energy field and consciousness vibrating in harmony with universal intelligence. When you master your frequency, manifestation stops feeling like effort. You become a tuning fork for reality. The clearer your tone, the clearer your outcomes. Life starts moving through you, not at you. Remember this formula. Attention directs energy. Emotion amplifies it. Action anchors it. Every time you align these three, you reshape the field around you. Energy mastery is not mystical. It's practical. It's emotional discipline meeting spiritual awareness. It's choosing response over reaction, clarity over chaos, alignment over approval. It's remembering that the world mirrors your vibration before it mirrors your words. So protect your energy like a sacred resource. Guard it from negativity, feed it with creation, purify it with truth. Because when your frequency is stable, your life becomes unmistakably magnetic. You stop pursuing, you attract. You stop begging, you embody. You stop searching for signs, you become one. Mastering your frequency isn't about becoming someone else. It's about removing distortion until you return to your natural state. Clear, powerful, radiant. And when you live in that state, the world can't help but respond. Chapter 15. The Art of Detachment, Flowing Without Force. The more you evolve, the more you'll realize that attachment, not failure, is what drains your energy. The need to control outcomes, to rush timing, to cling to how things should unfold, that's the true source of exhaustion. Detachment is not indifference, it's mastery. It's the ability to move fully, love deeply, work intentionally, and still stay free. When you attach to a specific result, your energy contracts. You vibrate from lack, signaling to the universe, I don't have it yet. But when you release control and trust the process, your field opens. You radiate abundance, and life responds accordingly. Because creation flows through relaxation, not tension. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your state. Detachment is the state of knowing that what is meant for you can't be missed, and what isn't no amount of struggle can hold. From a scientific view, detachment aligns with the paradox of flow. Psychologists studying peak performance found that people achieve highest results not through obsession, but through absorption, full presence without self-conscious control. Musicians, athletes, and thinkers describe it as effortless action. In this state, the brain's prefrontal cortex, responsible for overthinking, temporarily deactivates, allowing intuition and precision to lead. Spiritually, detachment is surrender, not to fate but to higher intelligence. It's understanding that your ego plans, but your soul navigates. When you detach, you stop interfering with divine timing. You stop trying to push rivers that are already flowing your way. To practice detachment, start by watching where your energy tightens. The moment you feel anxiety about an outcome, a message, a sale, a relationship, an opportunity, pause, breathe, ask, what am I afraid will happen if I let go? Beneath every attachment lies fear, fear of loss, rejection, insignificance, or delay. Naming that fear loosens its grip. Then, shift from demand to preference. Replace "this must happen" with "this or something better." That small adjustment tells the universe, I trust your intelligence more than my impatience. Every time you release an attachment, you return to power. Because attachment ties your energy to uncertainty, and uncertainty feeds anxiety. Detachment anchors your energy in presence, and presence magnetizes. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop suffering between action and outcome. You still move with discipline, still give your best, but you stop bleeding energy into worry. You let the universe handle the choreography once you've done your part. Think of it like archery. Your job is to aim, breathe, and release. The wind, the distance, the timing, those belong to the field. The tighter you grip the bow after release, the more you shake the shot. In energetic terms, attachment creates resistance in the field. Resistance blocks flow. When you cling, you signal scarcity. When you trust, you open channels. That's why things often happen the moment you stop obsessing. Your frequency shifts from grasping to receiving. There's a physics to this. The law of resonance states that frequencies of similar vibration attract. But friction, emotional tension, disrupts coherence. The clearer and calmer your vibration, the faster alignment occurs. Detachment is the emotional neutrality that keeps your frequency clear. This is why meditation, breathwork, or journaling help. They don't change external events. They dissolve internal static. When your mind stills, energy moves. When energy moves, results accelerate. Spiritually, the highest form of detachment is faith. Faith that your effort matters. Faith that timing is intelligent. Faith that even rejection redirects. Life is not happening to you. It's happening for you. Detachment also applies to identity. Don't attach to who you've been, the version of you defined by old stories or successes. Identities are tools, not cages. When one phase ends, thank it and step into the next. Clinging to old selves slows evolution. When you live detached, you become fluid, unbreakable because you can bend. You start moving like water, soft but unstoppable, calm but carving stone. You flow around obstacles instead of fighting them. That's the essence of Tao, the way of effortless alignment. In practice, detach from timing. Your timeline is not divine time. What's late to the ego is perfect to the soul. Detach from image. You don't need to be seen to be significant. The most powerful forces, gravity, magnetism, love, are invisible. Detach from outcome. Focus on frequency instead. Keep your vibration high, and outcomes will match it. Paradoxically, detachment increases magnetism. When you no longer chase, you radiate self-trust. People, opportunities, and abundance move toward that steadiness like planets drawn to a stable sun. This is not passive living, it's powerful alignment. You're not giving up control. You're giving it back to the intelligence that built stars. Let go of forcing, and life begins to flow through you. Let go of resistance, and timing starts to serve you. Let go of fear, and creation accelerates in your favor. You were never meant to hold everything together, only to stay centered while everything aligns. When you detach fully, peace becomes your default, not your reward. And from that peace, everything you've been chasing arrives quietly, not as conquest, but as confirmation. You've finally matched the frequency of flow. Still the conclusion, return to wholeness. Everything you have read, every chapter, every principle, every shift, leads back to one truth. You were never broken. You were only disconnected from your own signal. Growth is not about becoming more. It's about removing what never belonged. It's about remembering that you are already enough, already connected to the intelligence that turns light into galaxies and breath into life. When you strip away fear, comparison, and conditioning, what remains is power in its purest form: awareness. You began this journey seeking change, but transformation doesn't start when life gets easier. It starts when you become stronger in peace, clearer in purpose, and freer in spirit. That's what evolution truly means. Not perfection, but presence. Through discipline, you built trust. Through stillness, you found clarity. Through balance, you restored your mind. Through belief, you reclaimed sovereignty. Through purpose, you remembered direction. Through detachment, you rediscovered flow. Each was not a step forward, but a step inward, because the real destination was never success, influence, or control. It was wholeness. The integration of everything you've learned into a single, unwavering truth. You create reality through your energy. Science calls it coherence. Spirit calls it alignment. Life calls it truth. When your mind, heart, and actions move in harmony, your world aligns naturally. You no longer fight for what's already yours. You simply match the vibration of it. Wholeness is not the absence of struggle. It's the awareness that you are larger than any struggle. That no matter what collapses around you, the center within you remains untouched, calm, radiant, eternal. The point of all growth is not to escape life, but to embody it more fully. To live awake, to love consciously, to act deliberately, to speak gently, to walk with depth and direction. The quiet power you now carry is not loud or dramatic. It doesn't shout to be seen. It moves like gravity, steady, unseen, undeniable. That's the mark of someone who has integrated their lessons into being. And so, as this journey closes, remember, you don't need more signs. You are the sign. You don't need permission. You are the permission. You don't need to chase light. You are the light learning to remember itself. Every breath is a return to presence. Every thought is a chance to realign. Every day is a new beginning inside the same infinite field. Life will still test you, not to break you, but to confirm that your roots now run deeper. The chaos that once shook you will now remind you of your strength. The silence that once scared you will now feel like home. So step forward, not as the seeker, but as the signal. Not as someone trying to find power, but as someone who has become it. Because when awareness stabilizes, when peace becomes your foundation, when purpose fuels your direction, that's when the universe begins to mirror your wholeness back to you in every form. You are not the storm. You are the calm behind it. You are not the noise. You are the awareness listening. You are not the body. You are the light inside it, learning to shine clearly. Let that awareness guide you now, quietly, steadily, endlessly. You've come full circle. The beginning and the end were never separate. They were both doorways back to the same place, yourself. And now that you've remembered, you are free to live.
If this audiobook gave you even one moment of clarity, share it with someone who might need the same pause. And subscribe so next time, calm finds you first.